One of the things that nearly every tourist that comes to Jordan does is comes to the Amman Citadel. And that is predominantly part of what is called in the tourism industry here, the city tour. Now the city tour encompasses predominantly the Amman Citadel, the Roman Amphitheater, and the souk, so downtown. And sometimes your guide will take you to Habiba, so somewhere where you can have some knafeh, and also Hashem, the restaurant that has really fast, lovely food, vegetarian food, but just really fast food. Not always vegetarian, but very good. So coming here to the Amman Citadel is one of the primary things that you will do when you have what's called the city tour. So on all of my YouTube channels, on Facebook and on Reels, Shorts and Reels, you are going to see hundreds of videos, vlogs that I do about what you are going to see when you come to the Amman Citadel. So let's do that again. Let's go to the Temple of Hercules, the small museum. Let's go to the cistern, let's see the hammam, let's go to the palace with that amazing gate and the space where it is the mosque. Let's go explore the Amman Citadel. Currently, the entrance to the Amman Citadel is a little further down the hill with the new entry gate being constructed and is almost finished. Just near the new entry is a big map of the site that is going to give you an indication of what you are going to explore when you visit the Amman Citadel. There is a small cafe, public amenities and a larger restaurant on the site. The central part of the Citadel site is the Temple of Hercules. It's a massive site that takes up this first part when you walk up into the Citadel area. A little further to the back there, you will see the hand of Hercules and the elbow of Hercules, and that is just before you go into the little museum there, the archaeological museum. It's only small, but you should not miss that. As you're walking around the site, it's really easy to miss some of the really interesting sites. So there's the Temple of Hercules to the back, and this just behind me is the lime kiln, and that is right next door to the Byzantine churches. Byzantium just means the Eastern Roman Empire after the schism within Christianity. If the Byzantines were worshipping at their church in the 5th century, they had to have lived somewhere, and so they would have lived within this space here, just adjacent to their church. Following the Romans, who were in this area from 63 BC, they were followed by the Byzantines in about the 6th and 7th century, when this church would have been built. With all Byzantine churches, you have the narthex, the entryway going into the nave, and the aisle at either side, and the curved altar area near the front of the church. Some of the basic architecture around a Byzantine basilica would be a strong defensive wall. So you can see the Temple of Hercules, you come down here to the lime kiln, and then you have the Byzantine church. And with all churches, you're going to have a water supply, and here is a well in the corner of one of these buildings with this beautiful mosaic just here at the Byzantine church at the Amman Citadel. The area surrounding a basilica would have all of the accoutrements of daily life. It would have dormitories for the monks, it would have workshops, it would have stables. They would have to have their own food, so there would be bakeries and kitchens. Some of the masonry on this Byzantine basilica would have utilized some of the stones from the older Roman buildings on the site. The Umayyad period ranged between 661 to 750 AD. This hammam has two entrances, one a stepped entrance from the palace and the second from the Palatine Medina, where the elites would have come from the common area. The bathhouse sits next to the birka, the water cistern, but the supply of water potentially would have come from a cleaner source like a well. The water would have come into this hypercastrium area where the steam would have risen and heated the marble on the wall that lined the caldarium and the tepidarium. The frigidarium, the cooler room, would have had access from the apidarium, the rest area, on the other side of that wall. This area would have been destroyed in an earthquake about 448 AD. This Umayyad palace, or Al-Hazar, would have been built around 724 and 743 AD by Umayyad Caliph Hisham. This impressive gateway is a cruciform shape with 4 equidistant rooms at each side. These could have been used as waiting rooms before people moved into the complex itself. The central 10-metre square area, it is unsure whether it was covered or not. The audience hall has 106 niches and would have been adorned with stucco and paintings depicting geometric patterns and leaf motifs. You can see a great blend of the original stone masonry and the new reconstruction. When you were walking around the Amman Citadel, it's very easy to be swayed or drawn to the larger structures, but it's really important to keep your eyes sometimes down low so that you can actually see some of the smaller parts of what made the Roman Empire such an amazing space. And so this is part of the cistern, the water cistern. The water would be drained into underwater catchment areas. And there is also one other little building that I always find, trip, stumble, fall, that I found quite interesting. Because it looks like an oven, but then the way the wall is structured, it almost looks like it is like a shop window or something of that nature. But when you come around the other side, you can actually see where there's a structure of a flue. So that's why sometimes I think that this could have been something like a bakery or something of that nature, and then they were going to sell their wares, their products, really quite promptly to the people on the colonnaded street. Because you can see this arch formation just here and the potential that there could have been a flue. But I wonder how, if this was an oven area, how they could serve through there. So maybe this was part of a fire and the fire was, or the items were put in from the other side. One of those really interesting spaces that I don't quite know what it is, but it just looks really interesting. So after coming through the Umayyad gate and walking down the colonnaded street, you would come into the palace itself, and there is 3 main reception halls within this space, and this is where the governor would be, and you'd have to be a pretty important person to be allowed to come into this space. There are rooms off to the side and to the back, and the remaining part of the Amman Citadel is just the Umayyad palace. The remaining area of the Umayyad palace area is almost like a residential space, a labyrinth of rooms that could have been suites or living quarters. It is speculated that this larger room could have acted as a throne room for the governor. The masonry and architecture in this space alludes to high vaulted ceilings, niches, fireplaces, wells, and strong fortified walls. There are many amazing things about visiting Jordan, but one of them is that you can wander around ancient sites unimpeded. You can spend as much time or as little time as you want looking at the way that the ancients lived. As you can see, there is very little shade on the Amman Citadel, so I keep amplifying. You need comfortable shoes, you need a hat, sunscreen and glasses. This is only a small site, so you may only need to spend an hour or so, but the more time you spend, the more time you can explore all of this amazing site. At the Amman Citadel, before you go through the Umayyad Palace gateway, there is an open area where on the west side there's a little group of shops, so there's a souk. So normally people would not be going into the palace. People that just lived in the area would just be coming to the souk outside. But the space that I'm sitting in here right now is the Umayyad Mosque. So you can see by the number of columns, it would have had some aisles around it. There's a grassed area, so there would have been a sanctuary space in the middle of this mosque. And in the wall at the end there is a cutout, a niche, a mihrab, so that would be the direction pointed towards Mecca for when people came here to pray. So this is the Umayyad Mosque here at the Amman Citadel. No visit to the Amman Citadel is complete without saying hello to the Hand of Hercules. So this hand and that elbow would have been part of a 13-metre statue that would have been somewhere over there in the Temple of Hercules. So it's just out front of the Archaeological Museum. I've been in there enough times and put enough videos on that there should be, I don't need to go in there and do all that again. But if this is going to be one of the spaces that you visit, this is going to be the Hand of Hercules. After you finish going through the small museum here on the Amman Citadel, have a little bit of a wander down here to this lower platform. You pass some sarcophagi, and just at the rear to the Temple of Hercules, you can see this very large stone just here, and that is half of an olive press. Isn't it the most beautiful structure, most beautiful stone? And that's just tucked away here at the back of the Temple of Hercules. So coming to the end of my visit here to Amman Citadel, I was just talking to some wonderful ladies from the University of Zaka, the Zaka University, studying tourism, all between the ages of 19 and 21. Big shout out to them, absolutely lovely ladies. And one of the things I was explaining to them as a visitor, as a tourist here, it's really important for us to wear our hats, our sunscreen, our glasses, have our arms covered, and to wear comfortable shoes, because there's not much shade when you come to any of the sites here in Jordan, but it's really important that you do come and visit because it's such an amazing space. Whew, very red-faced after my hour or so's walk around the Amman Citadel. Just having a final glimpse of the Roman Amphitheater before I head back to the car. Had another conversation with the ladies from Zaka. It's great to see such intelligent women studying here at university, studying tourism. So this is my farewell to the Amman Citadel for this visit. I thought I had finished at the Amman Citadel, but as always, it always comes up with a surprise for me. And this is the Ammonite area. So they are excavating. So by the time we come back next time, this area may have been excavated and we could visit it and find out more of the ancient history of this site here at the Amman Citadel. If you like my content, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, put on the bell notification for when I upload new videos. Jules retires at 60. Come along with me for the adventure.